Hi there. Welcome to a small little lesson here on learning about percents. Of course, with our little symbol right there. Now, before we get started, let's discuss what is a percent exactly. Well, we can take a look by breaking down the word. We have per, and we have cent. Now, the word per, you hear that all the time when you think about speeds, kilometers per hour. So when we say the per, we have like this little dash here. We can write like this as well, kilometers per hour. And then if we look at cent, which is French for a number, actually the number 100. So if we put these two things together, the per cent, so per 100. That's the little theoretical behind it. Let's actually take a look at a few numbers now. So if I say 5%, but I don't want this in a usable number. I want this in a decimal type number. So I can say that 5% is the same as 5 per 100. Now, surprisingly, this just looks like a division. 5 divided by 100. So 5 divided by 100, 0.05. Now there are two ways to get this number here, 0.05. You can either use your calculator, but let's say you don't have a calculator handy. We can take the number 5, our decimal point normally found right in front of the number right there. When we're dividing by 100, we're actually going to move the decimal to the left 2 spaces. So our new decimal here, put a 0 in where we skipped the spot, and a 0 to the other side. And we can see here, 0.05. Let's take a look at another one now. 88%. Again, equal to 88 per 100, or divided by 100, to give us, well, let's do it here. 88. We take the decimal point, and which would normally be found here, we move it back 2 spaces, which means our new decimal point ends up being put here, and we put a 0 to the left of it. 0.88. Alright, let's take a look at one last one. A little trick here to make sure that you understand. 0.3%. So again, let's just go through the same motions we've been going through. 0.3 per, or divided by 100. And what does that equal to? Well, let's go. Here's our 0.3. Let's take our decimal point, move it to the left, 1, 2 spaces. New decimal point is found here. Put a 0 in the spot we skipped, and a 0 just to the one side, and there's our new number, 0.003. So far, so good. But really, what are we going to use percents for? Well, most of the time we find percents of other numbers. So, for instance, what is 10% of 50? Well, see, we just got this 10 as a percent right now. Let's change this 10 into a usable decimal number. So we know 10% is equal to 10 per 100 divided by 100, and this is equal to 0.10. Now, 10% of a number, 10% of 50. This can get a little tricky sometimes, but what we're actually asking is 50 times 0.10. Now, this probably looks a little odd to you, so what we have to actually do is we have to fill in little spots. So we can line up our decimal, fill in the spots with zeros, put a 0 there. And now we can run through the multiplication. Of course, you can always do this with a calculator, but there's always those times when you're not going to have a calculator handy. So let's take a look. 0 times 0, 0. 0 times 0, 0. 0 times 0, 0. 0 times 5, 0. Now let's go with the next one. Don't forget our placeholder is 0. 1 times 0 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 is 0. 1 times Now because the rest of the numbers to the left are all zeros, all we're going to end up with is more zeros. So it's not necessary to do any of those ones. Now we've got all these decimals. How do we put a decimal into our answer here? We look at all of the numbers to the right of the decimal. So we've got, what we have is we have this 0, 1, this 0 here is 2, this 1 is 3, and this 0 here would be 4. So we're going to take our decimal, which we normally found here, we're going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. And what does that give us an answer of? It gives us an answer of 5.0000, or just 5. So, therefore, 10% of 50 is 5. So far so good, I hope. Let's try one more. Just for fun. So what is 45% of 30? Now I'm going to let you do this one on your own. So take a quick second, look at the question, look what we did in the last one, pause the video now, and come back and I'm going to flip to the answer. Alright, there you go. How did you do? I'm going to move on, do one word problem with you. It shouldn't be too much trouble, but it is going to help save you money one day, which makes it pretty useful. Favorite clothing stores are having a sale on an awesome sweater worth $60. One store has it as $20 off, whereas the other one has it at 40% off. So which one is the better deal? Which store are you going to go to buy this awesome sweater? So let's take a look at store number 1, which has it at $20 off. So retail price of the sweater is $60. We're going to subtract from this $20. And as you might have expected, the price of the sweater becomes $40. Now what about store number 2? Well, we know it's 40% off. Retail price is $60. But what are we going to subtract from this $60? Well, what we're going to end up subtracting is 40% of $60. Well, this isn't too much different than what we've been doing before, right? Let's take our 40%. We know that's the same as 40 over 100, per 100. 40 divided by 100, which is 0.40. And then we can do our multiplication, because we have 40 of 60. So we can take our $60, multiply it by 0.40, and we're going to get 0 times 0 is 0, 0 times 0 is 0, 0 times 0 is 0, 0 times 6 is 0. Easy one. Placeholder 0. Let's not forget about that placeholder 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 6 is 24. But where do we stand with our decimal? Well, again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers to the right side of that decimal point there. So our decimal point, which would normally be here, we move 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. And what number are we left with? $24. That's how much you're going to save with the 40% off. So we can go back to where we were. And we're going to save $24 here, which is going to leave us paying $36. Awesome. So store 2 definitely has the better deal in this case. And of course, let's not forget our therefore statement. Therefore, store 2 has the better deal. At $36. Now what I want to do before I end the lesson is I want to leave you with a second part to this question. So how much money are you going to need to bring with you to buy that sweater? I'm going to help set this up for you, but after that you're on your own. So we know the shirt costs $36 after we're going to save our money. But there's that sales tax with 13% HST. So you need to figure out how much is the total cost going to be with that 13% added on. Good luck.